Hey, here's a little disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of the MAWP organization. And there are some themes and subject matter that may not be suitable for all audiences, so viewer discretion is advised. It's deja vu all over again.
I know. It's like we were doing it a couple days ago.
Welcome back to the MAWPCAST again for the second time, but for the first time for you this week, we had a dress rehearsal earlier this week.
We're invaded by the FBI. They shut us down for a little bit, but we're back.
Trying to get situated and get these headphones working in conjunction with the Santa hat.
And it's not the FBI as in the government. It's the fucked up business incidences that happen.
Yeah, we lost our first episode. Whole episode down the drain due to technical difficulties.
Yep.
It because we had your magic high-tech device recorder plugged into my unreliable, couple years old laptop that once in a while it'll just shut off, and it shut off, and then power was lost, and the files were lost, and the show was lost, and it becomes one of the great lost episodes of the MAWPCAST.
Yeah, you got some of it on that, but does that have audio?
The audio is very quiet. It would be like, some master sound technician could maybe salvage it and doctor it up and make it like all nice and fancy, but it wasn't suitable for air.
That's fine.
Yeah,
we'll put that on the B side of something.
there's actually a couple other episodes that never made it because I did record an episode with Rappin' Zach, and the first segment did not record. And then there was a couple other issues with that episode also. So that just got shelved. And then there was another attempt to do one with my friend Molly, and that didn't pan out. And so there are these lost episodes now that'll just linger in the depths of time. Someday someone will salvage the archives, and they'll go, oh, look at all this stuff. Huh? And nothing left come of it. Because it'll be just... It's all useless material anyway. Pieces of conversations.
Right.
Songs that ended up getting played on different shows.
Okay. So is the computer set up so it's not going to turn off?
It is set up so it's not going to turn off at the moment. Although, things do happen.
Things do happen.
Yeah. Because it's contingent on a couple of things. Like I've got a video playing, so it thinks it's doing something. But if the internet were to, for some reason, freeze, then the computer would no longer be playing the video. And,
that is true. So, well, we will have audio this time, regardless. So,
yeah, we will, because we got the backup batteries going.
Yep.
Everything's good.
All right. So, yeah, this is the Christmas episode.
Christmas episode of the MAWPCAST.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or the whatever doesn't offend you episode.
Yeah. Well.
Holiday, whatever thingy. Yeah.
This is the good cop, bad cop, because I'm less concerned about the offending of people.
Oh, I know.
But at the same time, I'm down. Christmas is fine. Doesn't bother me. I live in a country with Thanksgiving, and I'm pretty native.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, I identify as white, I guess.
I know. Yep. Yeah, I did see another movie.
You did, huh?
Saw a movie? Yeah.
What's that?
Mortal Engines.
Mortal Engines, is that right?
Mortal Engines.
Tanked at the box office.
Did it?
Yeah.
Man, I loved it.
That's
I
great.
thought it was cool.
I'm glad that you did, because
I'm all about stories though, and different weird stuff like that. So
yeah, I understand. I actually, okay, So part of the reason why I don't watch a lot of movies is that I'm more interested in story rather than spectacle. And some things they're great translated to film, but some things can like just be too much, especially in today's age of huge blockbusters and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But some of them can be great too, and some things are tales that are only that only can be told through today's technology. Lord of the Rings is a good example of that. Another Peter Jackson production.
Yes.
And it took decades for cinematography and technology to get to a point where they could tell those kinds of stories that broad of a scope and scale, and that film seems like that kind of thing, like with giant cities,
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy.
moving cities, they move around.
Yeah. Yeah. And then little smaller cities that it's kind of weird, but it's very cool at the same time. I thought it was pretty neat story. There's people saying that it's similar to there's a Doctor Who story that's similar, but I have no idea. I'm not sure which one it's referring to, but I don't know. But I like it.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. The graphics are cool, and I'm all about graphics and stuff like that. So, yeah, I dug it. Then I went and bought what was that movie that I bought and saw last night? Was The House with Clocks in Its Walls. And it's with Jack Black.
Jack Black. You
Yes.
mentioned this before, even today maybe. Yeah. And so, what's the premise of this movie?
This movie, he's a warlock,
Is that right?
and something's going on in this place that he's living at, and they're trying to figure out what's going on with it and stuff, because they're not sure if it's going to be bad or good, but they have to figure it out and be prepared for it, because that's just what they do. So yeah, and it's pretty awesome.
Are there clocks in the walls?
Yep, there is actually.
Spoiler.
Kind of, yeah. Well, I mean, they kind of say that in the title.
It's in the title, so yeah.
So, yeah,
If
so
there's
it's-
not, then I guess that would be the spoiler.
Yeah, that would be kind of like, what the fuck?
Season finale of Survivor's on tonight.
Survivor, yep.
The fan favorite, he got voted out last week though, although everyone knew it was going to happen. He was this awesome nerd named Christian, and he was just phenomenal. Like, that guy. Like, seriously, like, I listened to some podcasts of people, reviewing the show, and just everyone who ends up talking about the show talks about how they have this infatuation with this nerd who's just kind of a genius. He's like a robotic engineer or some shit, and he stands out as very nerdy, like to the point where on the first episode this guy called him Big Bang Theory. But the guy called him Big Bang Theory is also like he's a total Hollywood guy. He wrote Nacho Libre and School of Rock, Jack Black films.
Wow.
Mike White is his name. He was actually, he might have starred in one of those. Like, I think he starred in School of Rock as Mr. Sneebly or something. And he's written films and acted and just done other stuff. He was on Amazing Race also. And he's getting down there to the wire. Like, he's actually in contention to win the show. Although I just doubt that they would give it to him because he's got bank, and it does seem like while again the show conspires against the best people, it also conspires against people who, like, lawyers don't win that show. Like, if they get to the end, they don't win the show. It's not really a widely spoken of thing, but it is an actual thing. And although the guy who won last year actually could have been a lawyer, now that I think about it, but generally speaking, they don't. And usually cops don't win either, but that's changed in recent years too.
Sure.
In part, they stopped telling them that they were cops.
Yeah, that might help a little bit.
But this one woman did in her second season, playing with all other returning players, she did win. She was a cop and she won. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I'm not too enthused about it. I'm not too enthused about it because I watched it free online, and then all of a sudden CBS wants me to pay for their online service. I'm like, I'm not. I'm done. I'm out.
Well, you got to pay to watch Star Trek now.
Yeah, well,
it's just like, what?
See, now that would come with that CBS subscription that I'm thinking of getting.
Yeah.
But and some football and stuff, but I don't want to watch TV. Like, I don't want to sit down and watch TV once a week, a couple times a year. Like, I can get into a show like that very casually, but not like, no, I don't do that on a regular basis anymore. I'll listen to things, and there's not enough programming on this CBS channel that is listenable. It's not just listenable programming. It's sit down and watch programming, and I don't got time for that right now. You also had some shows this weekend. You had
oh yeah,
the Dead Set and Halcyon Halo and Sky Giants.
And
Sharky Waters.
Sharky Waters. That's right. Man, yeah, that was an awesome show. That was fun. It was cool. I got Sharky Waters vinyl.
Oh, nice.
Even before they played.
That's great.
So I saw a vinyl there and said, how much? $20. All right. Oh, guess what? And then I told them about how they were on this podcast and stuff. And they're just like going, oh, wow, they know Potter. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're great guys.
So, yeah, so that was cool.
I actually, you've met Carl before. I remember now. And I might have even mentioned this to you even on a previous episode, but then spaced it. But when you were at Cedarwood, we did a few shows there, and we booked the band Looking for Lizards. They were a duo.
That's right.
Yep. And Carl was one half of that duo.
Oh. That was cool.
Yeah. We should get into some music, and we'll start off with the tune by Sharky Waters. How about that?
Right on.
See how quickly this moves today.
Yeah, I played one of those. The other guy, the Pilots.
The Pilots?
No,
The Giants?
Sky Giants.
Sky Giants?
Sky Giants. Yes. I think it's Sky Pilots for some reason.
We'll play them a little later.
All right.
Feed me cheese, will you please? And I won't have to think. Watch the news, cry the my grapevine. I brought my own beer stein. Please fill it up in time. Raise my hands on my eyes. Don't know how I feel inside. All I said wasn't lies. Drink myself into sublime. Raise my hands on my eyes. Don't know how I feel inside. All I said wasn't lies. Drink myself to sublime. Yeah, my streets are loud. Yeah, don't follow the crowd. Yeah, I'm your salvation. Won't you lick my imagination? Society rips your dreams away. Eyes don't lie as dreams fade away. You've got to believe in another way. 9 to 5, I got to get away. I've got to get away.
Into your dark brown headquarters, where you sleep. The ants will grow upon you, but they won't bite to kill. The sun will warm you like the beauty and out away your flesh. It's only a dream, foggy or past and hope for the afternoon. Really eclipse our mortality when you think of the relativity of time. They slowly melt right off the wall. The persistence of memory. Take nothing literally.
We just heard Portrait of Poverty, Term in Hell. And we heard the Twist, Catch-22 before that. And Persistence of Memories by Honeywell. And started it all off with Sharky Waters. She just did their sound last weekend.
No, that was fun.
Yeah. We've played them a few times here on the podcast. Yeah, I knew you'd like that band.
Oh yeah, great guys. Really fun to talk to and stuff. They dug the place. They, yeah, had a good time.
Yep. And Sky Giants, you say, were
Yes.
also there.
They were amazing. I love those guys. Those guys kind of threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, going, what? Badass.
Nice. Yeah.
Guitar playing, shredding, real guitar playing. And that's what I loved about all these bands.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just like a bunch of just super fast, super quick playing. There was actual rock and guitars. It was cool.
This is very true. I know specifically Pete, the drummer. He's been a staple in Tacoma music for a long time now, going all the way back to the PPU days over here on Puyallup Avenue. There was the old practice pads, and a lot of bands played in that facility. It was around in like 1990, 91, 92-ish, and it was a sleazy, grimy place that was just filthy and filled with graffiti.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Really dirty.
And there was like 14 or 15 rooms in there, and a lot of the rooms hosted two bands, and it was a hub of local music activity, especially for the South End scene, because I would like back then especially distinguish there being a distinctive North End and South End scene, and the South End scene was largely centered around PPU, and you'd find a lot of big bands like Sedated Souls and the Rhino Humpers and Villain, Ashbib,
Metamorphosis.
Data, Metamorphosis, tons and tons, Deadly Effect, which I believe
Crouchers.
Crouchers are right.
Yeah.
Yeah, McMike,
Yep.
Rock Force, a lot of good bands were in and out of there. Bonzart was in there. Sister Gypsy,
Wow.
Tramp Alley. Bonzart had Tramp Alley's old room. They said it was a cursed room. Yeah.
The cursed room.
Yeah.
How is it cursed?
No band in there stayed together.
Oh.
Like every band that moved into that room would break up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They said, "Oh, you guys are moving in the cursed room."
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it happens.
It happened. It actually did. It happened.
did happen.
Every band. I mean, every band breaks up, yeah, but specifically every band that went and tried to exist in that room. But it was a party. I'll say that.
Yeah, that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball cards.
These are actually a couple Star Wars cards.
Oh, Star Wars cards.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I do have tons and tons of baseball cards still, though. Need to dump.
Leia's Last Hope. Oh, Rogue One. Have you seen Rogue One?
Oh, yeah. I have seen. The only thing I haven't seen was Solo. I have not seen the Solo.
You haven't seen Solo?
No.
I have it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll have to bring it over and we'll have to do a little party. We'll hook up to your computer, but we'll hook up to the PA.
Uh-huh.
So it's like super loud and shit. The laser.
That'd be rad.
I love doing that. All right, those are badass, man. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm actually giving you a couple Star Wars cards. So in the world of carddom, so you don't find this in Pokemon cards, but in baseball cards and in Star Wars cards, for instance, one of the ways that they've been able to maintain cards into this era is through promotional things like autographs. And like on baseball cards, they'll start kids out really early in their prospect years, like when they're teenagers, and prospects, they will. The computer died. They will. Yeah, we outsmarted you. So these kids in the prospect era of their careers, like when they're just coming up through high school and college, they'll start signing autographs right away, and they'll get conditioned to sign autographs. And the way this works is the Topps company or Panini or these other big organizations will have event signing things where they bring in a lot of these players and have them all sign.
Uh-huh.
And then these autographed cards get slipped into packs. And this goes the same for something like Star Wars. And in the world of Star Wars, you could get an autograph of anyone. Like you could get an autograph of Kenny Baker or Princess Leia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was when I was in the midst of the card thing. There were boxes of Star Wars cards around with Carrie Fisher's autograph in them, and they were all of them are kind of like the main cast of that. They're highly sought after autographs, especially in relation to Star Wars memorabilia. And then she passed away during that period of time, so those were like
Even more.
Yeah.
Highly sought after.
products.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So we have to remember to set this up so we're not. Okay. There we go. Now.
Is that playing?
Yeah. Yep. It is. Just
Alright.
can't tell.
All right.
So we can plug it back in now.
Oh, well, it doesn't really even need to be plugged back in reality until
Okay.
after we're done. I can just plug it in as soon as we're done.
All right.
We're prepped for it, though. Is it plugged in over there? Where's it plugged in at?
Oh, it was never plugged in at all.
So I can plug it in now, and it's not going to hurt anything.
Yeah, I could.
plug that in, guys.
Okay.
We'll wait until...
That's funny. Well, we know that it works, Chris.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
Yep. That was just a test.
Yeah.
Test of how it would react if we did it wrong.
Yeah, it's funny how little I'm bothered by all of the mistakes and the different things that have occurred. Because it's a very casual thing. It's always been very casual. Like, I don't think of the camera that's on, but I'm not bothered by it. Like,
Yeah.
when I'm talked to about it, sometimes I get anxious about it, but other than that...
Yeah. I forgot about it after a while.
Yeah. It's not like a real internet celebrity or anything.
And we're not live. If
Yeah.
we were like live and had people like calling in at the same time, then yeah.
But
when it gets to that point, then I might be weird.
yeah, I think that we'll be pretty settled in by then. But we would have to have things a lot more secure before that could happen.
Yeah.
There'd have to be a lot of stability in the system.
Yeah.
And reliability and everything. Before we're going to step off that cliff. Oh, bong it for you. Yeah,
Right.
that I did think of
a lighter in my hand for some reason.
clever game that I don't encourage overindulgence at all, but people do like games like drinking games and stuff like that, and you could have a drinking or smoking game where every time you heard a bong hit you had to take a drink or a toke. I don't recommend.
Every time you heard one?
Yeah,
So.
on the show. Although I don't recommend it.
Speaking of games,
Oh yeah,
I played a cool game the other day.
is that right?
Had a Christmas party
Uh huh.
at my girlfriend's work. I think I told you about that with the video games and stuff.
Uh huh.
Well, it's called Left, Right, Center. And you have dice. And on the dice, it has a L, a C, and an R, and then 3 black dots on the other 3 sides. And you start out with chips or quarters. We did with quarters. So you have 3 quarters. If you play with 3 dice. I guess if you have 5 of them, you can play with 5 dice. So basically, let's just say hypothetically you start out with 3, because that's how we play. So we have 3 dice. We have 3 quarters. We roll all 3 dice. And if like one's a left, and then you got a center, and then a black dot, right? You take one of your quarters, give it to the person to your left. One of the quarters, put it to the center, and then you got to keep one because of that. You give the dice around. Well, the next time you get dice, you only have 1 quarter, so you can only spin 1 dice. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You spin it, and it goes away. It goes to like center. Then it's a center. You're not necessarily out. If a person to your left or to the right has a quarter, you're still kind of in the game because they could get an L or a right or whatever. Okay, so the object of the game is to have 1 quarter left, have a quarter when all the other quarters are in the center. Because once quarters are in the center, that's it. They're stuck there. But all the other ones can be transferred back and forth with the left to right thing. So if you ended up with the last quarter, then they're all yours.
Oh, that's a pretty good game.
It is. And when we started the game, he says, you can be hammered and play this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can be pretty fucked up and play that game all the way. So you can do it with drinks or shots or whatever, which I wouldn't advise doing with shots.
Because you don't actually have to know what's going on. You can just roll the dice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they say, give me that. Nah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. So all you got to do is, hey,
What do you
check.
mean, hey?
Oh, I lost my hearing for some reason for a second.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You need to call an ambulance? I think everything's fine. Yeah.
That's just a weird thing. I don't know.
Maybe you're just getting in that zone. You're used to it. This is just how you hear now.
No, either that or it's just everybody was absolutely quiet for 1 split second. So I thought, wow, it's too quiet. But anyways, yeah, it was an awesome game. That was cool. And then I sat and played a vintage Star Wars video game over and over and over and over and over and over. God, I must have played it like for a half hour straight.
Yeah.
Because, yeah. So I had limited quarters. So I was like, all right, let's play this. Then I played Iron Maiden Pinball for a while.
Sweet.
Then I played Star Wars Pinball for a while. So, yeah.
I will hit an occasional arcade, but I'll usually stick to Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man. An old fashioned. Occasionally I'll play Bubble Bobble and Donkey Kong, but
Have you ever played Halo?
I have played the first 2 Halos. Those might be the last console games I ended up playing, but
Halo I love because my hands have a hard time playing some games.
Yeah.
But Halo I can actually play. I can actually play Halo, so that's kind of cool. So I dig that game.
Halo was styled after a game called Tribes. And
Tribes
was an online game that I used to play with a couple of friends of mine, and they were more into it than I was, but it was fantastic, dude, because it was first an online incarnation. So you could sit there, and so people would put a bunch of computers together or get their friends together from different places, and do the same kind of thing. Like there'd be spawn points, and there'd be like capture the flag type things, and there'd be different vehicles and weapons, and it was basically the same thing. But it was just team versus team combat. Real people versus real people.
Right.
And next round starts in 15 minutes, and then you go, and then you play until you've won. And so it was pretty good. So a lot of the so I'm not exactly sure where Halo's got to, and if they ever got to that, I think they probably have got on to the online player versus player thing.
I'm sure they have.
But I
I'm
don't
sure
know.
they have.
But it's great, and there might be other games. Well, there are tons of other games that are like that now. That you can go onto Twitch and watch all day long. PUBG, and I don't know what this Fortnite is. Seems like it's similar to that whole genre.
Another game that I'm trying to get into is Skyrim.
Yeah.
Because apparently if you just go from one side of the world and try to walk to the other side, it takes you hours.
Yeah.
Hours and hours and hours for you to walk.
No, see this.
So it's a huge thing. So you go from like the desert to the mountains to you know, the ocean to all over the place. It's pretty cool. It's kind of like an elf world type scenario, I think.
Yeah. It sounds just like these Final Fantasy games, which are very similar. Like, I was describing some of those before, and those kinds of games can be really neat. And I like a lot of these different things, and I will occasionally in my life delve into them. But as far as like immersing myself into them too regularly, like I'm very selective about it. And so it used to be that I would get a console like the next generation. Like every time a new generation would come out, I would be getting the one previous to it. I like, okay, I can set, because then because if you get a game, at least in the old days, when you got a game system when it first came out, it'd take a while for them to catch up with the games until they started making like PlayStations that could play old games. Like PlayStation 2 could play all the old games. All that stuff was great. But they didn't used to do that. And every generation, a new thing would come out, and then you'd have to wait for games, and games would just trickle out, and they would be hit and miss. So if you wait until they all came out, and then you have your choice, and they'd also be tons cheaper. So there was always that. But something seems to be wrong here with this thing. There we go. Actually, maybe we should get back into songs. And we'll get back to this game conversation here in a minute.
All right.
So we'll hear that. Well, what are the Sky Giants in a minute? Let's hear the Plasters first.
All right. Can't go wrong with the Plasters.
Nope.
You say that you will, but then you don't. I'm losing my mind. Stop wasting my time. Don't say that you won't. Sitting around in a funk. I drink till I'm drunk. You got promises and turning to lies. Like the poison's done. I'm here at home, alone and on the phone. I'm dialing your number. I'm starting to wonder if you're even alone. When you say that you will, but then you don't. I'm losing my mind. Stop wasting my time. Don't say that you won't.
negativity and all that other shit. Keep that shit to your fucking self. You know what? This side will fucking positive.
Yeah. Grew up in the. Grew up in the tack, now I'm posted in Los Angeles. Anywhere I be at, I be puffin' till I can't look up. Writing out my goals and my soul is where I see it first. Rappers like emoticons, just a bunch of characters. Give a nigga space, call me Lando. I'm a rebel, moving solo, leave my mark just like So Glow. Don't compare me, I got my own glow. Her booty homegrown, not that GMO. She hasn't shaved, so I'm still gon' eat it though. Different from the pack, but I still eat it though. So-and-so done used that beat before, I still eat it though. Scared of life but trying to give advice, do I need it? No. I write my own playbook, I got heroes, I can't copy all the action they took. Look around you, everything is something someone made up. Refound myself because I researched. Moving forward, no reverse, no complaints, no regrets. Make moves on the t-shirt, doubt will try to deter. You can always beat it and it will always return, but you can always beat it, don't forget that. Can't sit back during setbacks. Stacks is my interest, I'ma stack it up like interest. Your beat sustain some injuries. You ain't helping me progress and you are just a hindrance. It seems these days the game got easy entry. Corny shit is all around, this must be how a farmer feel. Niggas out here trolling till they realize that karma's real. This is not an omelet, ham and cheese on mix for me. That's the only way to make it, this ain't meant for me. I be moving differently, I am every differently. Bruce Lee, Jet Li, Rock Lee, Ali. I eat, y'all beat, they gon' charge me for the damages. So stoned, I turned to amethyst, making opportunities, using my advantages. From the T, but I'm posted in Los Angeles.
All right, we're back again. We just heard What the Future Knows by Sky Giants off of What the Future Knows.
Yes, very cool.
Mm-hmm. We also heard Los Angeles by New and Black as Night by Cyperus. Cyperus practiced there at PPU. Some people will say, oh, Cyperus isn't a Tacoma band. They're from Olympia. But no. They were a Tacoma band for at least a couple of years, for a couple strong years there when they were firmly located here in Tacoma. And then we started all off with The Price is Rich by the Plasters off Trainwreck of Happy Accidents.
The Plasters.
So when we last left our conversation, we were talking about games. I talked to you about games before because I occasionally play some Pokemon. Now,
Yep.
the Pokemon on the phone, Pokemon Go, is not the same as the card game. Now there's the actual physical card game, and then there's the online card game.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to ever buy a pack of cards, not that you would ever buy a pack of Pokemon cards, but each of those packs comes with a code card that represents a pack of digital playing cards. So you could take that code card and plug that into your account there on the Pokemon trading card game online, and then they'll give you a free pack of cards. And all the same cards that exist in the real world exist online, which is crazy and intimidating because there's thousands of fucking cards. It's just insane. That's one of the big just deterrents of ever getting involved in that game is where do you start to wrap your mind around things, because it can be just crazy. But so the Pokemon Go is a completely different incarnation, adaptation of Pokemon, which all of this is just adapted from the game or the show, and the show is all about these kids going around and catching these little mutant monster things. And
I don't know, the little Pokemon Go card. I don't know how many times I would come home from work, right? Driving into my house and have people in my driveway because there's a fucking Pokemon, I guess, somewhere on my fucking property that these fucking kids want. So I have to chase them off every goddamn time.
I think that's great.
You know, and it's just like, fuck. You know, and if it's me going after them, kids are safe. But with my girlfriend, she goes after them ruthlessly. She'll cut them.
Well, it's such an innocent thing compared to so many things that I've seen so many other people and myself included doing growing up. So I'm pretty forgiving of it. And then there's nothing wrong with playing some games once in a while. And one of the things that is actually pretty rad about that Pokemon Go is it gets people outside and walking around. People who might not otherwise ever walk around.
Exactly.
It's like all of a sudden, it's like the only way you're going to get that Charizard is if you're going to go walk around.
Yeah.
All right. So it's not the same world, you know, because Jesus Christ, I spent a lot of my youth playing games on a couch, you know, just like so yeah. And
I was just talking to Ashley about me starting to play Halo again for my hands, get my hands working again. So yeah.
There's all kinds of things like that, like playing a game. But in fact, I was not ever comfortable sitting behind a computer, for instance. Like I've been around computers my whole life and had one, but like sitting there for prolonged hours and hours of time to do an activity like to draw or to write, which I wanted a computer for. I wanted a computer, a laptop specifically, or any computer, so I could write and I could draw, and just in my own crude, minimalist, limited way. So, but I was uncomfortable sitting behind them. So, but I wasn't uncomfortable sitting there playing a game. So what I started to do was find games that I could play on a computer to get comfortable sitting behind a computer. And it also then helped familiarize myself with things as I went along. Now this carried on time after time with each new incarnation of computing and stuff like that, because I would go periods of time without access to them at all. And the same thing could be said with the phone. And that was, I only got a smartphone this last year. I'm quite familiar with them, but just not ever had one or used them too much. So when in part to help me learn my way around it, I just employ that same strategy of put Pokemon Go on there and then start walking around and playing Pokemon Go. And then all of a sudden I'm walking around playing Pokemon Go and listening to the baseball games. Like, oh, this is great. You know, there's so much you can do. But it is also very limited in what you can do too. And so you can just box yourself in with that device. But I try not to do that. Not that I do anything too terribly advanced with my laptop, but there's just things that are way easier to do. And there's something about constantly focusing on the small screen that I'm trying to not get too used to, because
it'll screw your eyes up.
yeah,
Tell you
among
that
other
right
things.
away.
Yeah. So again,
Of course, any artificial light, LED light,
Yeah.
computer light, same thing.
yeah.
That's why these are all fluorescent lights too. So yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to get away from it. The hate lights.
I like if I find an incandescent light, I buy them, and I use those because the lighting is it's just more appealing to my eyeballs.
Mm-hmm. So among the other festive gear, I also have this Christmas record you brought by Steve Stefanovitz. Is that how we say it? Is that his
Yep.
name? Steve Stefanovitz? Yeah, oh yeah. We're going to play that super controversial Christmas song, huh?
Yes, let's do it.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Yes.
We will here in a second.
It's kind of a cool version. I like how he does it.
Yeah.
Because take note, Steve Stefanowitz is a blind guitar player. He's been around this area for, probably 40 years, probably if not more.
Is that right?
I mean, yeah, and he's, and I may be wrong. But I know that he's been around at least 20, 25 plus years that I've known him, or known that he's been around. So yeah. So he's been around for a while, and he's phenomenal because when I ran sound for him, you just kind of, he's standing there basically, he's helped up onto the stage. He gets to this one little spot, and you just let him know where the microphone's in front. He'll grab the microphone, and then he'll put his pedal, which is usually I think it's like a reverb pedal, and he'll put that on the floor right in front of him, and then that's all he needs. He knows his little box, and he'll jam there for an hour straight, and it's phenomenal. He's just so freaking great. So yeah, he's an amazing singer, guitar player, badass.
Something like playing an instrument. There's that it can completely be done. We on tour once. I played with a band that had a blind drummer, and he was great.
Oh wow!
Just fantastic. Yeah. I mean, he was playing complicated drum stuff. Yeah, it was crazy. And we ended up staying at his house that night, and he had a Playboy for some reason.
Playboy magazine.
Yeah, and it was like he's blind. Like he was blind.
Was there Braille on it or anything?
No Braille.
Was it like raised pictures or anything? Huh.
Guess he just had it for the articles.
Maybe, probably.
All right, let's hear that song.
I really can't stay.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Got to go away.
Baby, it's cold outside.
This evening has been
Hoping that you'd
so
drop in.
very nice.
I'll hold your hands, they're just like
My
ice.
mother will start to worry.
Beautiful, what's your hurry?
My father will be pacing the floor.
Listen to that fireplace
So
roar.
really I'd better scurry.
Beautiful, what's your hurry?
Well, maybe just a half a drink
You
more.
put some music on while I pour.
Neighbors might think.
Baby, it's bad out there.
Say, what's in this drink?
No cats to be had out there.
I wish I knew how.
Your eyes are like
to
starlight.
break this spell.
I'll take your hat, your hair looks swell.
I ought to say no,
Mind
sir.
if I move it
At least I'm
closer?
gonna say that I tried.
What's the sense in hurting my
I really
pride?
can't stay.
Baby, don't hold
Oh,
out,
but it's cold outside.
It is cold out there, isn't it?
I'm freezing.
I know. What happened to the fire? Go start the fire.
You start the fire. You're the boy.
No, I can't start a fire. I can't see anything.
Oh. Well, I kind of have to go. I simply must go.
Baby, it's
cold outside.
The answer is no.
Baby, it's cold outside.
This welcome has been
Lucky that you
so
dropped in.
nice and warm.
Look out the window at that store.
My sister will be suspicious.
Steven said your lips look delicious.
My brother will be there at the door.
Waves upon a tropical shore.
My mean aunt's mind is vicious.
Gosh, your lips look delicious.
Well, maybe just a half a drink more.
Never such a blizzard before.
Got to go home.
Baby, you'll freeze out there.
Say, lend me your coat.
It's up to your knees out there.
You've really been grand.
Eyes are like starlight
but
there.
don't you see?
How can you do this thing to
There's
me?
bound to be talk tomorrow.
Making my lifelong
At
sorrow.
least there will be plenty implied.
If you caught pneumonia and
I really
died,
can't stay.
baby, don't hold
Oh,
on.
but it's cold outside. Cold outside.
What do you think of the car, Amanda? You like the car?
I do like the car. I'm really glad you bought it.
Yeah, I bought it and I plan to drive it too.
Do I get to go with you?
It's up to you if you want to.
Depends on how cold it is outside.
It's really cold right now. Can I get you something?
Maybe some hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate?
Yeah.
Okay. No problem.
With marshmallows.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Ooh, it's cold
It's cold outside.
It's cold outside.
Baby, it's freezing out there.
It's cold
But it's warm.
outside.
Baby, it's cold out. Baby, it's cold outside.
All right, we're back. That was the
All
Sharps. The Sharps, double clutch. That's what we just heard.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right on, right on. So yeah, can't wait for the summer.
Yeah,
Do some on location.
yeah. When
Podcast.
the weather's nicer,
Yes.
it would be.
Go outside. We could do them like in odd locations, like haunted houses, or maybe on the beach or something, or
So finding a haunted house would not be the easiest thing. I mean, I guess someone could recommend. Although I do know a place that, I would say at least I feel like it was haunted. This was a place that our friend Tim, his wife Leah, lived at back in the 90s, and it was on 6th and Stevens, right by what was then the Hoagie's Corner. I don't know what it is now. 7-Eleven Hoagie's Corner. So there was a party there one night, or just an after hours thing, bunch of people hanging out, and everyone was spread around the house, and it was widely known or discussed that that there was a ghost in the house. They were aware, at least, that they believed that there was a ghost. And I don't remember, there might have been some stories about people talking to the ghost through a Ouija board or something like that. So a lot of this was widely subjective, speculative, and largely unbelievable, especially at the time. Like, I mean, I believe in the spirit world and things like that, but you take everything with a grain of salt until you've experienced something for yourself. So this particular night, there was a lot of people in there, at least a dozen, maybe 24 people in this apartment. And a couple of the people, Jason Harson, who was the singer and guitar player for Katie's Dimples, and Eric Balcom, bass player for Bone Flower at the time. They were in the bedroom and had apparently been talking about some lewd and suggestive things, not necessarily in a they weren't being like they were just being funny. They were just being funny.
Yeah, they were joking around. Okay.
With each other. Now, I was sitting in the couch, on the couch in the living room, and I could see the door was open into this bedroom, and I believe that the layout was like, so I'm on the couch, and there's the window behind me, the living room's set up before me, then there's the dining room in front of me, in front of that, and then there's the wall with the doorway, and I can see like a dresser and the foot of the bed. Foot of the bed's on the left, poking out of the side of the door. Those guys are on the bed, over in the room, and then there maybe is a bathroom over there, on the other side of the dresser. So anyway, I'm just sitting in there, and the party's going on around us all, and everything's do. And so I don't know what's going on at the time. All I know is that the dresser that I see, like, just flops over on all of its own volition, just flop. And those two guys come running the fuck out of that room, and they're like, "Whoa!" and so they were the only ones in there. No one was in the bathroom. No one else came out, so no one tipped that over. They were over out of sight, and I just saw it flop over. And for whatever reason, it did. And so they got the they were interrogated and they divulged that they were talking about funny things that they were a little embarrassed about, just being boys, and it was concluded that the ghost was a woman and didn't like the whole conversation, and was just letting them know. So I don't know one way or another. I do know that thing happened. That thing happened. Like there was no reason for that dresser. Like we came and set the dresser back up, and the dresser stayed up.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't broken.
It's not like the drawers were all out.
No.
So it wasn't like a weight difference or nothing. It's just
Nope. I mean, it was just a weird occurrence.
Awesome.
Yep. Merry Christmas.
Yep. I love that stuff. That sounds great.
Yeah. There was other things too. There was a time that Nathan and Bob and I were out in Graham, and we were driving along. I was sitting in the back seat. Bob was driving. Nathan was in the passenger side, and was in Bob's red T-Bird, and this was back in 1990-ish, late 1990.
Okay.
And we were coming back from Bob's work, Mountain Mist, and driving down a country road out in Graham, and it was a long rural stretch of road with ditches on either side and the fences with the barbed wire and a post every once in a while and tall grass and stuff. Well, not that tall. It was in fact it was this time of year, so it was not that tall at all. But it was knee high. And a couple of houses dotting the horizon here and there, not too many, not very close neighbors here and there.
Yeah.
But so we're driving along, and we see a girl walking down the road, and she's walking in the oncoming traffic lane parallel with us. And I say, hey, there's a young woman. Let's stop. Let's give her a ride. See if she needs a ride. So Bob stops, and I roll down the window, and I say, hey, what's going on? You need a ride? And she's crying, and she's, no, I'm okay. Just going up here. It's like, you sure? She's like, no, I'm fine. I'm just going right up there. I'll be okay. And I'm paraphrasing. I don't know exactly word for word what she said. So we start to pull away, and I was like, she's not okay. She's crying. Why is she walking down the road crying? Why is she walking down the middle of the road crying? This doesn't make sense. I was like, turn around, Bob. Let's go back and find out what's wrong. And we weren't very far away. Like, we were just pulling away as I'm saying all this. And I might have just said back up. He's like, I'm not going to back up, turn around. So whatever the events happen, we come to the first driveway we come to, which wasn't immediate. And we turn in, pull, and go back, and she's gone. And again, this wasn't very far. We didn't go very far. And there was no time in that amount of time for her to scamper down the ditch and then up through the ditch and then through the barbed wire and then lay down to the point where we couldn't see her. So she just kind of disappeared, and that was weird. It was and we didn't just give up. We looked around. We looked for evidence. We checked it all out. We were like baffled by it. And every once in a while, I'll still bring it up to like Bob and Nathan. Nathan's a little more hesitant to but he does confirm it, and so does Bob. We all confirm the same series of events that happen. So that's always a healthy thing when other people can corroborate your story. And you're not crazy, or they're just denying it. That's also good. But it was weird. Now, what else is weird about this whole thing is that a year or two later, I was in a bookstore, Powell's bookstore down in Portland. It's a big bookstore. It's like a block, city block. It's a couple stories, tons of books. And I have this habit of just wandering around bookstores until I find like sections that appeal to me. And then I'll just wander around until I find titles that appeal to me, and I'll just peruse books. I like bookstores. They're nice. It's fun. And so this particular day, I picked up a book just very randomly on American mythology, which I was very dismissive of as soon as I was picking it up. It's like, American mythology, that's dumb.
Yep.
Like, how much mythology can there be in America? But I was like, oh, maybe there's some Native American mythology,
Yep.
and, so I'll check that out. So I started looking, and a lot of it was more contemporary mythology from the time of the first colonists to now. So it did date back from 400 to like 200 years ago with some of the oldest stuff.
Yep.
But one of the stories that caught my eye was called A Hitchhiker. I was like, Hitchhiker? Well, that's interesting. So I started to read the chapter on the Hitchhiker, and the Hitchhiker was a story about like 200 years ago about a girl walking down the road and a wagon that would come up to the girl and say, do you need a ride? And then the girl would either say, no, I'm just going up the road, or yeah, because there's variations on this story. But it was an age-old story about this ghost girl who, like, okay, for instance, if I weren't in the back, if there was just two people in the car, then according to the variation on the story, the girl would have got in the car, and then we would have turned around at some point, and she'd have been gone. Poof.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then we would have driven up the road and seen a dress on a clothesline, and that would represent like the place she was going. And I guess it's very much like the Pee Wee Herman ghost driver.
Oh, shit.
Nonetheless, it is an old story in the world. It's not something that I'm making up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are my Christmas ghost stories.
Awesome.
The Nightmare Before Christmas. No, spirits. They're out there. Residual remnants of these energy.
Yep.
Whatever, an impression that they leave or whatever. There's things that go on that we don't quite know, that science hasn't quite figured out yet.
Oh, yeah.
Although,
Or they figured out and just haven't told us yet.
yeah, there are things that it will take us a long time to understand, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure of that as well. Counting on that.
Well, I guess we're winding our show down.
Yep. That's good, because I got to pee.
Yeah.
I'm going to pee.
Okay. We'll finish the day with some songs. And we'll see you all maybe next week
Yes. Till next time.
for our New Year show. Yeah. That's the MAWPCAST.
Why is he stumbling around? Why that before it all comes tumbling down on you. Come on, stay with me tonight. Come on, for peace of mind. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. I have watched you fall to pieces many times before. You should have seen the storm clouds coming, but you wanted more. So you better watch your step, girl, before it all comes tumbling down on you. Come on, stay with me tonight. Come on, for peace of mind. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. The sun is where it used to be so bright. We had futures, we had life. Look the other way, try to ignore, but the sun is burning out. We're coming to an end with so minute. When we're gone, the world remembers nothing. Why are we here? What's our purpose? Look at the sky, the sun is black on the surface. Should I bow? Should I choose to simplify it? Should I bow? Should I choose? I am not content. Memories like faded photographs. I can't make out my face. The man I once thought I'd be looks not a thing like me. Where do men go when their hearts go? Life eternal, death inferno, silent darkness. We're all equal. Life is lethal. Life is lethal. Should I bow? Should I choose to simplify? Should I bow? Should I choose? I am not content.
staring outside and mask the tears in my eyes. It all seems such a shame. I'll never see you again. Missing you is tough. 'Cause missing you is tough. I miss your smile so much. 'Cause missing you is rough. The emptiness that I feel lets me know that it's real. I miss the sound of your voice. Still I'm left with no choice. Missing you is tough. 'Cause missing you is tough. I miss your touch.